for musicians, if you can hit a stadium of 50,000 people, you think you're big. Of course you're big.
Of course, 50,000.
Yes,
Hey,
but
great
now
guy.
if that one person says nah, that will turn you down totally, because you think.
I understand. So you compare. You've been performing for 50,000 people.
Yes.
Who love you, and then just one person says.
One person, and for a number of years, remember.
Yes.
You hit stadiums. You hit, like, for example, Chris Brown hit stadiums all over the world last year. 90,000 had it done.
Yes.
90,000. Then these two people come and like, but me, I don't feel Chris Brown.
Hey,
that will hit you so much, because you think by the time you hit 90,000, you think the whole world is under
loves
your
you.
feet.
Yes.
Loves you.
Yes.
So that ends up depressing certain people.
Yeah.
Someone will get depressed over that one person. I know artists in Uganda that I won't mention that have got depressed over that, and they still want to prove a point to the few people.
Yes.
Yet they are already big. Yeah. So that's why you see, like you said, we need I don't know if I also don't differentiate between a psychiatrist and a psychologist.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another special edition of the Zambaland podcast. Today, I'm blessed to have wonderful guests. Atabatali babulijjo, basically. These are not your usual musicians, producers, artistimania promoter. Today are very, 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 very special people. Not to say that my friends are not special, but these friends are born ndwawo kubalaba. And now that we are back in Uganda and this is a whole homecoming experience, Nagambi, let me invite a few people to come to the forest and have a conversation. So that's why we're here. So to the right side, Nina, a gentleman who is called Kintu Muhammad, very experienced in this event space. He's a creative photographer, promoter, what job doesn't he do? He'll explain all the rest. And then traveling further to this other side on the right, Omuchalo Yogomulava. She's a doctor. Not these things of Simanyamu doctor, no, we're talking about PhD. And her PhD journey has not only been from Uganda. She's a well-experienced certified practitioner from the land of San Diego. And I've known her for a very, very long time. She's like a sister of mine, actually. Welcome, KWOBA Marion. No, doctor. Don't forget the doctor. Dr. KWOBA Marion to the pod. Yes. So, Marion, welcome back to Uganda.
Thank you.
How do you feel?
Good.
Akasana enfufu.
Twabimanyira na America jeziri tolimba abantu.
Ateri enfufu mu America.
Jeziri na.
Eh? The pothole, eh? A pothole is just wali. Sorry, let me move your microphone closer. Potholes ziri jebazanyira dirt bikes and whatever. Only. Jeziri. Cheka mu San Diego. Wafete ziri yo.
I don't know LGC seno na.
Totuswaza. Tuliba America wano. But anyway, the world is a ghetto, right? I think the world is a ghetto. The problems that you're going to find in Uganda, you're going to find in the United States, you're going to find in the UK. It depends on what system has been developed to deal with these problems. In other words, that's the only difference. Eh?
Yeah.
But wherever you go, Osanga Yabantu, Abaina, we bleed, we cry, we feel the same emotions. For example, we can accept a bizimbe. In other words. So, what are the major differences? Because you were born and raised in Uganda, right?
Perfect.
What are the major differences that shocked you when you first got to the US?
I mean, infrastructure, obviously, and then access to resources, I would say, and open-mindedness, would be the biggest difference.
Are you saying our people are closed-minded?
Yes, aren't you closed-minded? It's a very black and white world that we live in here.
I think we should say we are conservative.
I don't think it's conservativeness. I think it's more black and white.
Yes.
World
Yes.
compared to that side, and just even the willing to adapt.
Yes.
You know, because in the field, like you said, I started my mental health journey here. You know,
Yes.
studied psychology
Yes.
for bachelor's,
Yes.
and when I went to do my master's, it was actually in healthcare management.
Yes.
And quickly realized it wasn't my passion, because then it would throw me more into the health administration part of it. But then I was working more with people with developmental needs, which we also have here, but it's not overly utilized, right?
It's not in the front.
The front of
it's not the front of our consciousness that we are thinking about. People with developmental needs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I quickly transitioned back to psychology, which I felt was more my calling. And so I went back for my PhD to do clinical psychology.
So to a layman out there who's watching, right? For psychologists, we think that you can look at us and know what we're thinking.
Yeah, big misconception, because nobody can read minds.
Okay. So psychology is not reading minds.
No.
But let me explain it in my layman terms. Psychology is trying to understand human behavior and patterns of human behavior. Is that it?
Yes, through a deep clinical interview, right? So it's more of your cognitive functioning, your mental well-being from the brain, right? But it encapsulates everything. So psychology as a whole has many things. There's clinical psychology, which is more what I do. So that's the functioning of your well-being, your brain, your mental health, right? But there's also behavior psychology, which is how do we behave and what things make us behave the way we do.
Yes.
Organization psychology is how do organizations behave and why do organizations function the way they behave. You know,
so organizational psychology is what Facebook is using to control our minds.
What Mark Zuckerberg
is doing.
Yes,
yes.
There are things behind it. There's sports psychology, why are certain sportsmen better than other sports people and what makes them tick, right? And there are things that, their managers and people have to do, and they go to sports psychologists to do those things. So, so it's a very big field. But, people just grab one thing and stigmatize it and run with that.
That's why you say that they're closed-minded, because they overly stigmatize things that have not yet been deeply studied.
Yeah.
So your field of your clinical psychology, right? So waneno mu musicians, because first of all here we are creatives.
Yeah.
Those what lava. Hey, creative. And I know your deep love for music too, films and all the rest, entertainment. In your analysis of the Ugandan entertainment scape, do you think we need your services? What will you okay?
I mean, if you branch out to just your partners in the West, many of them do have psychologists or mental health providers in their entourage.
Yeah.
Because it is a very taxing business, right?
Yes.
You first of all work the abnormal shift that our bodies are not designed to work, right? You're sleeping days and working nights, which is not what our system is designed to do. You are exposed to drugs and alcohol, which is already not our adaptive way of functioning.
Yes.
So, you're already having to do things that are outside the normal scope, right? So I think it's good to check in with yourselves, and you do need services that are going to kind of guide you to the right path, right? There are conflicts that you're going to have to deal with, so you're going to have to learn how to have healthy boundaries that, sometimes you will need a mental health provider. It doesn't have to be a psychologist. It can be a social worker. It can be a, licensed professional counselor. But people in that field that help you develop these tools and skills that you might not have access to.
In
your own professional world or field that.
So you'd advise that a person in their entourage at least should have
access
to a therapist Not
Yes.
psychiatrist or therapist, or even
Yeah.
both.
Or even
Or
both.
someone on
Yeah,
call, eh?
psychiatrist, medication is good. It goes a long way.
Yes. For the people who don't know, I was educated by her. Twati today yo mwana tuli mu Hollywood yo wagulu mubire. We're having a drink and she was telling me the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist. For me, I thought these people were the same. Because zenganeba buli mulaluba mutwala to one person with a doctor. Eh? But there's a difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist, as we are learning more about that today. Mr. More entertainment, because you've been managing artists, you've been managing bands, you've seen people face the stress of a tour, you've seen people break down probably in their private quarters, right? And in your experience of dealing with artists, what are the number one causes of this stress that makes them break down?
Being unappreciated.
Mm.
And many artists have an issue. Most of them have an issue. For example, certain artists a number of artists come from a humble background.
Yes.
So when they hit it there, they expect everyone to appreciate them.
Yes.
Which is not the case, because if someone has seen you, like we Africans have that ego, when you've seen someone from the ground,
yes,
you get up there, it takes you a while to understand them.
Yes, yes.
So a few of them will appreciate you. The
yes.
ones that don't know you, they will appreciate. The ones that know you, most of them will be like, no, we saw GNL coming from. No. So and sometimes we artists, let me also call it myself an artist, because
yes,
I've been doing art for a while.
Yeah.
For musicians, if you can hit a stadium of 50,000 people, you think you're big. Of course you're big.
Of course, 50,000.
Yes, but now that one person says, nah, that will turn you down totally, because you think...
I understand. So you compare, you've been performing for 50,000 people,
yes,
who love you, and then just one person says...
One person. And for a number of years, remember,
yes,
you hit stadiums. You hit, like, for example, Chris Brown hit stadiums all over the world last year. 90,000 had it done.
Yes.
90,000. Then these two people come and like, but me, I don't feel Chris Brown. That will hit you so much, because you think by the time you hit 90,000, you think the whole world is under
loves
your feet.
You. Yes.
Loves you.
Yes.
So that ends up depressing certain people.
Yeah.
Someone will get depressed over that one person. I know artists in Uganda that I won't mention that have got depressed over that, and they still want to prove a point to the few people.
Yes.
Yet they are already big. Yeah. So that's why you see, like you said, we need psychiatrist. I also don't differentiate between a psychiatrist and a psychologist. But
psychiatrists
focus on medication. They also do therapy, but they focus more on medication. Their emphasis is on learning medication and prescribing it.
Psychologist. That's the psychologist.
I think we artists license.
I think we need both.
We need both. I think we first need the other one, because we don't have any here. Of course, we have them, but
we do have
their child.
We do. But part of the reason why I was insisting, Marion, by the way, is a very, very private person. I dragged her and told her, "Gwe, you must come, record at least. We must discuss these topics, because it's important to shine a light on this field, because there's so many people out there that need the help, but they don't even know where to go, or they don't even understand this subject. Say, Charlie, a little bit hazy, or Chirabai." So the more we talk to these artists, the more we talk to these young creatives, we build a better community with the people that whose lives live to inspire others if they are taking care of themselves as well. One of the reasons why Nkubuzi Zanga manager, why people break down, it's very important that we're going to be down to appreciation. Part of the reason and motivation for most artists, actually, that gives them the courage to go in front of the crowds, is because they want to be appreciated. I think psychologically, there was something about artists, that there's something that pushes them. There's a young child in them who wants to be loved, yes, and appreciated.
Actually, artists understand two things all over. Let it be Beyonce, the upcoming artists, and the 70, 80-year-old artists also understand two things. One, the crowd reaction, the appreciation, and two, money. when yes, an artist understands money.
Yeah.
Like if an artist woke up today
Yes.
and let's say I'm your manager, GNL,
Yes.
and I made you big,
Yes.
and I made you from the ground to the level,
Yes.
and then this one came to Dan is like, I'm giving you a better offer, ABC. Trust me, you'll bleach that contract with no second. You don't care whether you've
For
done
me, I
all
respect
this.
contracts. I won't be like the other. The other.
But I've seen this all over the world.
I know.
Artists cry with
I
it.
know.
The other thing is artists like appreciation, because when an artist goes on stage, you see that 90,000, the 10,000 people, and they put their hands up like this.
Yes.
That will motivate him to do more.
Yes.
Take a picture, you have 40,000 people, Nkuka style, and you come on stage and everyone's like this.
Oh, it happens.
To be so
It
demoralized.
happens to so many people, and
Yes.
that's part of the breakdown. That you're talking about the artist who at least has people that have put their hands up and they appreciate them. But then there's that person who has never had any of that appreciation, and
it's done.
Abada Sindika music on for like 10, 20 years. People don't talk about the psychological torture or torment that goes into that disappointment alone. How would you help an artist that came to you? Agambe banange doctor, psychiatrist naye nkumanyi ne psychology omutegeera. I'm here, I'm done, in fact. How would you help such a person? How would you start counseling them?
These things go a long way. It cannot be fixed in one session, you know. But I think personally, a lot of these things have to do with self-worth. I think it's where I would start from.
Yeah.
Just figuring out what drives this person and what's their biggest motivation, and, what led them to where they are, and what their goal in life is, what's, figuring out what their inner core is and what their self-worth is, and how to get them there, right?
Yes.
Because I think at the end of the day, if you know what your self-actualization is and what it looks like for you, and how you can get there, then, if you get there and how to achieve that, then you can be content in life, right? But for most people, the struggle is how to get there, or even identifying what that is. And that's why you see many people, when certain people die by suicide, we're like, how did that person...
How did that even happen?
Who seems to have all these things, But because many times people struggle, somebody, we wear these masks in psychology. We call them people, somebody's wearing a mask that they put on for the world to see. And it's because that mask doesn't mesh what their inner person is, or what they really want to be, but they are living for somebody else, right? So I think it's really just always somebody being able to identify what their goal is and what it looks like for them, and then being able to achieve it. So what when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the number one thing is self-actualization, and how to go through the steps, because it has that hierarchy, and you cannot go to the next step without completing
all of these.
Each step, right?
So your goal would be to take this person through the journey of their self-discovery and rediscovering their self-worth.
Yeah.
Okay.
And how to get there.
And then there are people born like just imbalance, depression.
Yeah.
Whether they are born depressed.
I mean, nobody's born depressed. Let's start there. You can have chemical imbalances, right?
Yes,
and then there are things that will always increase depression and, keep people in a cycle of depression, but or make you more vulnerable to depression and things like that.
Yes.
But I think also the art industry has that pressure, because someone comes off the stage, he has hit the crowd. You come off the stage, you haven't hit the crowd, yet your song is the number one song on the chart list. Trust me, you won't fail to get
the reason
depressed.
I'm laughing is because I know all these things.
Yeah, that's why you say artists.
There used to be people. There was a time when I wasn't producing any more hits. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the perfect time to release my next song.
Yeah.
And I remember people were saying, "Man, your guy, akuba crowd, neta ina luyimba."
I think in you guys' industry, it's really hard. And I think it also comes down to that knowing yourself and being able to hold your own and being comfortable in your skin and where you are. And, you know, if you don't give in to that pressure, right? Because in your industry, it's really tough and challenging, you know, and being able to tune out that noise, right? Like the negativity that comes and the, you know, the Lugambo and that.
I think most of the depression and the Lugambo. Oh my God, these TV people who think people are stones.
Yes.
Like I've seen musicians who act like they are not affected, but then when they're in their privacy, they internalize every word and every syllable someone said about them. Like we've talked about,
which is a problem.
Which
so
is a
that's
very, very
where
big
you
problem.
need to have the mental health provider, the psychologist, the friend, the outlet, because the internalizing is where then the depression comes in, the suicide ideation comes in, the anxiety comes in.
That's where the suicide comes in. You know, like there's this guy who used to drum for a band, Baliba Jita, Linkin Park. Oh my God, this band was so big. Nganze ngamba ha nemala nkuba stadium nga Linkin Park bwe kuba Linkin Park nga Linkin Park bwe kuba Kisawe, you get me? And you know, this dude committed suicide like all of a sudden, and you're like, but why would you achieve this level of success and just take yourself out like that? And it hasn't only been rock musicians, it has been rap artists, it has been
DJs.
Especially in the States, and especially when you have money and your depression or your psychosis or whatever you're suffering through, where the money is even a problem actually. Like there are people who have bought tons of cocaine, it's bad for him, but they don't know how to stop because part of what they have internalized chikuze. You get me? So are there situations that can't be helped where you're like, chino chiganya, your situation yote tujitegera?
Like what, regarding treatment?
Regarding treatment.
No, I mean, I don't think we've come across a situation that can't be treated. There are people who might have severe psychosis and but I think there are medications out there that have been able to treat and manage a lot of the symptoms, but I don't know anyone who has died and their cause of death has been psychosis. Right? Yeah, but the people whose illnesses have made them, you know, do things where they've hurt themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
How come in our society, because you're all Ugandans here, right? How come in our society nobody has ever been given the tools of how to handle this? Or is it a thing that's dealt with in Gachirimo curtains? How come there are no tools to deal with things like anxiety, depression? Lwaki tebiriiwo oba gyebiri nga tetubimanyi?
Gyebiri naye we've not accessed them, because this was the topic of my dissertation, and when I was doing my research, there are quite a few. You know, there was a whole research that was done a research paper that was done in northern Uganda after the Konyi rebels. I think it was IPT to treat depression. So that was a whole research study that was done. Interpersonal therapy.
Interpersonal therapy. Tumanye PTSD kubanga buli omu
interpersonal therapy is a form of treatment.
Katuleba dollars ayogera ku transport.
Interpersonal therapy is a form of treatment. No, it's a form of treatment. It's like a short-term form of treatment that is used to treat depression. So it was a study that was done on a group of people in, I think it was somewhere in northern Uganda. There are quite a few papers or research studies that have been done, you know. So there are resources in Uganda, you know, they're not on a large scale. And I think UPDF has also started a whole behavior unit for PTSD.
Interesting.
Yeah, I just found that out the last time I was here.
Chogamba gena tulese abayimbi tubakupe endongo nga is part of the.
So they are
It's part of the healing.
Music therapy is a form of therapy, but I don't know if we've started using it in Uganda.
Yeah.
But there are resources, and I think I've seen many mental health counselors and things like that slowly coming up.
Yes.
But remember, for us, we've always stigmatized mental illness and considered it witchcraft, right? So it's been to our detriment that we haven't opened it up. But I think in doing my research, I know that there are many outlets and people maybe are beginning to slowly open up to it.
Yes.
The government just has to maybe put a little more money into it, and people have to be willing to do it. When I was, you and I talking about it, and all my participants were East Africans, living in the US, and it was always, why are we closed-minded at home, and yet in the States, or even talking to people in the UK, or a lot of people who live in Spain, anywhere in Europe, most people who are outside East Africa or Africa in general, they are very open-minded to it. They go to hospital, they go to therapy, they take medications, but here it was always closed off. And, most of them...
and some of them call it kajanja and lugezigezi. Yeah.
But it was always, we didn't know about it, or it's, nobody told us about it, we didn't have access. So it seems like a lot of it was, we didn't know.
Yeah.
Now that we know, we are more open to the idea.
Yeah.
So maybe the newer generation, or, people coming up, if they have the resources, they'll be open.
And talking about resources, I'm going to get back to you, because the most important thing here, and I know you're a very busy lady, only booked. Yeah. Chokawanage Marion, doctor, bwe yali ku masters yali wano naye kati PhD ali eri mubire ng'okitegera tuteeka okukola schedule ne secretary wa secretary we okumufuna
doctor ate
US doctor okumufuna si byangu special. But I want you to think about for our people, the message that you could leave behind. What are some of the resources where they could access help, right? And how do you go about finding a good psychologist or psychiatrist in these dusty streets of Kampala? Ewakawa fewanene chadondo. Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Mulago does have mental health department. TASO does have behavior services.
Interesting.
Yeah, World Health does have. World Vision has. I think most of the NGOs do have. There are some private people that have. I think Google will lead you to people if you have. Because when I was doing my research, I just had to Google and people came up, right? So there are a few small agencies out there that have. But I know like the main people have, and Mulago definitely does have some. So the government is slowly introducing these things. Chirudu Hospital, I think, has, because when my sister was sick, she was in Chirudu, and I pretty much remember seeing something to do with counseling on their board. So they are trying. We just so there are resources out there, I think.
So these resources is where you can go and say, I need to find a database of like psychologists in Chikuba Mutwe, and they never.
I don't know how big our psychology database is, but I know there are counselors. So like I said, I studied my psychology degree. It had just started. I was in the second class.
Yes.
With your very own radio, rest in peace.
Hey,
He was, I think, by the way.
Radio was in psychology.
He did psychology with me.
And we are celebrating Radio Week, which is one of the topics we're going to be discussing today. But yes, please.
So that was interesting. So I always said he used his psychology degree in a different way. He spread love and unity through music.
Most definitely.
So Makerere would be a good place to start, at least going to the Makerere psychology department. And
finding people
finding. So my guess is they would probably have like internships or student counselors and things like that.
So even us here at Baboon Forest, I think our next task for February, let's find these resources so that we can avail them to people, so that there's like a database where you can click next artist on a Google Doc nga bonna kwebali ne weeronderamu gw'oyagala oba asobola okukuyamba. So the other problems of me and my brother here, tuli mu music industry, our thing is like very, very private. You get? Naye ate oyinza ofuna psychologist oba psychiatrist ng'alina olugambo.
Well, confidentiality is a big thing for us.
And
so
which is one of the reasons why most people actually are not open about the problems that they have, and they suffer silently with their depression, their hyper and chronic anxiety, because they are afraid that the next person they are going to tell is going to run to a newspaper. Some people feel like by being a friend of a musician is their permission or gateway to open up the Lugambo gate. You get me? So our trust issues with medical professionals to cause it to to find people who are private.
But see, then you're not working with licensed psychologists. And I know in Uganda we don't have a licensing board, and I think that's where the Western world were to sing it.
I think that's a very big point, where someone is afraid of losing their license if the Lugambo goes out.
Yeah.
And that would be a nice one. That you call it for your artists.
Yeah, but I think do we also need to have the art industry is so tricky.
Yes.
Do we also need to have special psychologists for the art industry, or is it supposed to be the general?
They should be in the general public. They shouldn't be special. Oh, you mean people who are specialized to deal with people who are
artists, like
who are creative?
Who are creatives? Because we go, including myself, I almost got depressed one time.
Because your problems will only be related to music.
Not actually in music.
Most of the problems in music are not related to music. Actually,
yeah, they're not.
So define for me why you would need a
special person.
A special person who specializes in music.
Give
me an example.
We artists usually deal with numbers.
Numbers.
And numbers have different reactions. So even the way of, that's why you see, have you noticed that many artists in Uganda move with a number of people around them? It's not because that they want to show that their strength is. It's for self-esteem.
Yeah.
Self-esteem, yes.
Oh, so you tell me that all these people moving around with Magari don't have self-esteem?
They don't. Someone stays alone in the room. Someone stays alone in the room. Most of those people,
one man army.
Most of those boys that you see moving around with artists hype them up. They don't something. That's why you see when in case you find them doing maybe a music video, performing on stage, there's someone behind shouting for them, because they have to distract them from the other people who are negative. Yes, that's why you see they move around people. Because, like, for example, you see, I usually follow TikTok and online. White people have an issue. Sorry to say white. The Western world has an issue where someone wants to walk on street freely, and then someone throws a word to them. One time I saw
catcalling.
Yes, one time in Uganda it's hard for an artist to walk on the street like that. That's why I see Mozeredi and Rizzo used to do it. They used to want to walk on the streets, but they used to gather a lot of crowds around them. So you see guys moving with many people, but you don't know who is in the middle, because someone can do whatever they say. Usually someone can cut you and it's okay, but someone can hurt your feelings just by saying something funny, and then disturbs the whole of your life. I've seen artists. There's one artist that I see she's even a female. She's still a female. She's still struggling just because someone told her something.
Yeah, but I get that. But you see, those are things that you can learn to work on in treatment. You get? Because self-esteem is really learning how, telling you something. It's all negative thoughts and negative beliefs, right?
Yes.
And there are tools that you develop over time, and you learn how to reframe those things. So somebody tells you something, and you learn how to not catastrophize it, or learn how to not take it personal, and you reframe it so that it doesn't give you that much of a negative reaction, right? Or you figure out, why do these things give me this much of a negative reaction? And it takes a while to break away from why those things maybe give you, figuring out why they give you such a negative reaction, and then learning how to make sure they don't give you that much of a negative reaction. Because self-esteem comes from your inner child. It's the inner child that was hurt, and learning how to break away from that.
Yes, but I think it's hard because I've got I've got a chance of managing the upcoming artists, and also the oldest artists actually in the country. But truth be told, all artists have the same issue. Even an
They're
artist
all
who has sung
children.
for years, they say something, and it tells you something that has happened to him for over the last 30 years.
Yeah, and I don't
You
think it's
cannot
only
get
an
over it.
artist. It's anyone can be like that. Anybody can be
yeah,
like that,
yeah.
where one word is going to have a negative impact on you
Yes.
for a very long time.
Can a good friend be a psychologist?
No, you cannot treat your friends. We are not allowed to treat people. I would never be a psychologist, Zamba. You know too much about me. I know too
Nentula
much.
waliri nengamba
Thank you
kati
so much.
mwana Marion olaba nombuuza, how does that make you feel?
Yeah,
It's
we are
Soboka.
not. We cannot treat friends because you would never take me serious. Like, not too much about you, not too much about me.
Yes.
Yeah, you can't treat spouses. You can't treat family members. You know.
But what if you take it out of the frame of the professional bit?
We can talk as friends. I can give you advice, but I
Okay.
can never treat you and charge you. So you have free services for life, unfortunately.
Actually, you're
Banange,
right.
snap,
Advice.
olaba.
You know,
Free
you know,
services.
You know why
Not
she's right?
professional. Yes, I'm
You know why she's right? My wife is a psychologist.
Yes.
She's a counselor, marriage counselor.
Yes.
But she has failed to counsel me.
You cannot. Yeah.
She has more feelings than actually I do. And I actually asked a question like that one time. They told me, no. She cannot counsel you.
Yes.
You cannot. And you see, even her friends would never. She cannot treat your friends. They
Yes.
have
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah,
you cannot because
that's
you
factual and funny at the
know
same
too
time.
many people.
I told her one time.
Omusajja wuuno, omusajja nnemerede.
I even told her one time, you'd be my counselor. She's like, no.
Yeah.
No. I end up counseling her instead.
Yes.
You cannot. It's hard.
Yeah.
You know, it takes.
It's crazy.
It's hard to be objective.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
But this is the conversation that we're in. One of my favorite TV shows was a show called Billions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it had like this psychologist, Vanange, could help them through like they're about to make a trade which is like risky. Like the whole company basically hinged on how this woman studied the character of every trader on the floor up to the CEO of the company, Ochiraba, and should help them through difficult things like, should I risk the boss's money? I feel like in the company I'm not appreciated. This other woman would study them to a point where she would tell them, for lack of a better word, why are you being a bitch? In this company, you're a lion. Be a lion. Move like a lion. That's why the company appreciates you when you make your moves, when you're bold. If you make a loss, this company will survive another day. And, you know, I love that show. But part of the reason why I loved it was how the whole company was not just not only standing on ego, but how she would understand everybody's character and everybody's struggle and help them harness their power. I wish we had people like that in Uganda. Nyabo okomawo ddi okusettlinga mu Uganda. Kubanga tulina abantu bagala okukola billions one. So a private company could hire you for $1 billion a week.
And companies
Chikolera.
need your services a lot.
I'll go harness my organizational skills and come back.
Yes.
Companies depress people a lot here.
Most definitely. So
I'm coming back to do contractual work.
And you told me about also coming back to set up something private. I don't know if you're ready to share about that, but you're open to doing contractual work for organizations?
Yeah, and there's private practice as a psychologist. So yes, so I'm open to beginning to do that.
Yes.
You know, because I had to, how the journey in America is. You finish studying 5 years, then you do your license exams, then you apply for your license.
Yes.
So I have done with all that now because I didn't want to come back before I finished all that and get established. So now I'm all set and life is as it should be, and so now I can make moves.
Well, Africa needs you. We appreciate you for spending your time with us. Eri busy. The music industry needs you. If there is someone out there who needs your services or a little bit of advice, is there a way they can reach you? Do they slide in the DMs? Do they send emails? What do they do?
No, they can find me on LinkedIn, I think.
Yes.
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Marion KWOBA.
So LinkedIn, Dr. Marion KWOBA. Yes. With a Q over K.
K.
Kubanga abantu bayinza misspelling. I remember Q.
I think I think spelling I guess I had to make it easy for you.
Yeah.
So it's LinkedIn, Dr. Marion KWOBA, or Google me now. You can find me.
Yes, Google her, find her, get the help that you need.
It will take you to my LinkedIn. So.
Yes, and for people who would like to have more discussions with the Marion, she's open. She's an open book, always open to build, always open to create and solve problems that we in our societies have. This gentleman has been Mr. Kintu Mohammed, contributor, creative, manager, and this conversation needs to continue. If you're out there watching this on YouTube, tell us what other topics we can send to her as answering it. Tell us what you're struggling with and what you might need help with to linking with the right help. Area yo oba help solo creating our neberange tasa society. So my name is GNL Zamba, your boy from the Zambaland podcast. Resources for mental health are many, as you have heard in Uganda. Don't suffer alone. Don't suffer silently. Start with Makerere University Department of Psychology. You might get help over there. Tuwulide, which other one? World. Mulago also has some health organizations over there.
I'll look up some and I'll send you, and you can add to your...
Yeah, we'd like to start a database for people to find resources, mental health
Recovery
resources.
Uganda has some for people struggling with
Recovery
alcohol.
Uganda, yes. Thank you for coming through all the way from San Diego.
Thank you for having
no
me.
jano tuchalira
Pleasure is
waneno.
mine, yes.
Hey, thank you.
Appreciate
Mwayocheza
it.
ekibuga kyaffe.
Wayocheza ennyumba yotogenda kumanyi nze sibeerayo n'abadduka.
Man, thank you. Always
Thank
love.
you.
Thank you for coming through.
Yes.
And Mr. Kintu, wherever yourself.
Kali bane nange mwebale ku hosting.
Amen. Peace and love. And see you for one. Get the help that you need. Don't be ashamed of asking for help. That's the main point here. KWOBA Marion, Mr. Kintu Mohammed.